If you are a grant writer for a nonprofit organization, I would like to share with you how to create reusable grant proposals. Hi, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions, and I've written grant proposals for years for my own nonprofit organization. And when you are responsible for generating revenues for a nonprofit through grant writing, you want to be able to use every opportunity you can to reduce the amount of time necessary to write grant proposals. So, in this video message, I'm going to show you how you can actually reuse some parts of a grant proposal to reduce the time it takes to write them. So let's get started. The learning objective. Upon completion of this nonprofit tutorial, you will be able to create reusable grant proposals to reduce the grant writing time significantly. Specifically, you will learn the 10 components of a standard grant proposal that you can revise to reuse when applying for grant funding from different corporate, foundation, and government grant funding entities. Nonprofit tutorial grant proposal components, reusable grant proposal components. What are the grant proposal components? Well, here we are. The standard grant proposal includes 10 components. Grant funders expect grant proposals to focus on the solutions to the problem more than focusing on the problem. Therefore, it is recommended that 10% of the grant proposal should clearly describe the problem the community is experiencing, and 90% of the grant proposal should explain the solution to the problem. In other words, the grant proposal should use 90% of the space to thoroughly explain how the program will solve the problem identified. And here are the grant proposal components. Problem statement, number one. Number two, program vision. Number three, program mission. Four, qualitative objectives. Five, quantitative goals. Six, program description. Seven, program budget. Eight, implementation plan. Nine, evaluation plan. And 10, sustainability plan. These are the 10 components of a standard grant proposal. Now I am going to elaborate on each one of them. The problem statement. The problem statement is a compilation of the needs analysis data in a report format that is easy to read and compelling. It should evoke a sense of urgency in investing in the community. For example, the lack of healthy food. So, the lack of healthy food could be a problem in the community. So, in order to prove that the lack of healthy food is a problem, then you want to compile data from a needs analysis that you've completed and place it into a report that is easy to read and follow. You want it to be compelling. You want it to evoke in the person's mind that's reading it a sense of urgency in investing in the community. So, throughout the remainder of this nonprofit tutorial, I'm going to reference the lack of healthy food as our point of conversation. The lack of healthy food is the problem in the community that we have documented. So let's keep going. Number 2 of 10, vision statement. The vision statement is a broad statement that describes long-term positive change. For example, establish a community garden to eliminate the food deserts. That's a broad statement for a long-term positive change. Number 3 of 10 is the mission statement. The mission statement explains how to realize the vision statement. In other words, how to make the vision, long-term vision statement, a reality. So in this example, we plan to establish a huge community garden with fresh vegetables year round. So that is the mission statement. The mission statement explains how you're going to realize the vision statement. So if you're writing a vision statement, it's a long-term statement, broad statement, and you just can't seem to make that transition to the mission statement, just put the word by at the end of the vision statement. We're going to create, we're going to eliminate food deserts by establishing a huge community garden with fresh vegetables year round. You see how I put the vision and the mission statement together? That's what you want to do as well, because you want to keep a good flow throughout your standard grant proposal. All 10 components should flow well together in a logical sequence to make sense to the grant funder or the entity that has the money that you need to implement your services. Number 4 of 10, qualitative objectives. Quantitative objectives measure changes in behaviors in terms of outcomes over a certain period of time. Now, changes in behaviors, in order to measure that, you have to first notice the behavior of the people who are going to receive your services. How are they behaving now before they receive your services, and then at the end or during the time in which they receive your services, you can start documenting changes, qualitative changes in their behaviors over a certain period of time. Another way to reference behaviors or qualitative objectives is the word outcomes. Now, when you start applying for grant proposals, you're going to see in the application where the grant funder is going to ask you to describe the outcomes, projected outcomes of your organization. So the outcomes just means they are asking you to define the behavioral changes, projected behavioral changes in your target group. For example, the community members will feel better about their health by eating healthy vegetables. So the behavioral change that you are projecting to be able to measure is they are feeling better about their health, probably showing signs of self esteem improvement, confidence. All of those things are outcomes or qualitative objectives that you want to be able to define in your grant proposal. Number 5 of 10, quantitative goals. Quantitative goals measure outputs in a realistic quantitative terms, such as we will distribute 500 pounds of vegetables weekly. We will teach 100 children to create vegetable gardens annually. We will deliver 200 vegetable baskets to the elderly monthly. So the quantitative goals measures outputs, what are coming out of your initiative. In the grant application, the grant funder will ask you, describe the outputs we can expect by investing money in your organization. So they are looking for quantitative things that you can measure easily. You see, you can measure whether or not you distributed 500 pounds of vegetables every week. You can measure whether or not you taught 100 children to create vegetable gardens each year. You can measure whether or not you delivered 200 vegetable baskets to the elderly each month. So these are the ways in which you want to write your outputs in a measurable, tangible way. Okay, before I go on to number 6 of 10, I have a commercial break for you. I want to share some information with you that I think will help you continue to grow as either an aspiring nonprofit professional, a new nonprofit professional, or perhaps you are already established, but you are a believer in the importance of lifelong learning. So let me share with you what I'm offering. I'm offering a new monthly email subscription service. The new subscription based emails will provide a robust educational content in a more organized manner for you. Instead of receiving random emails from me, like I've done for the past 17 years through my email list, you will receive your emails on Monday mornings at 7 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. That way, you will know when to expect to hear from me. Your emails will include topics that pertain to the category of the month. Each month, I'm going to focus in on one category. That's another way that I'm organizing the emails. For example, the January category of focus was starting and reinstating nonprofits. So in January, all of the emails that I sent out pertain to starting nonprofits from scratch and reinstating nonprofits after automatic revocation. The February category will be funded, well, is funding nonprofits. How do you get money for nonprofit organizations from different sources, such as grant writing, investments, fundraising, unrelated business income, donor advised funds? All of those topics I will discuss in the emails for February, and so on and so forth. Each month has its own category of focus. The monthly subscription fee for these curated emails is only $5 per month. So that means every Monday you're going to get a new email. And the first Monday's email is always the monthly nonprofit newsletter. The monthly nonprofit newsletter talks about nonprofit news, talks about classes that are available, shares information about grant money that's available, gives you information about best practices, and it always includes a free gift. That's on the first Monday of the month. And then you're going to get emails on the remaining 3 Mondays in the month for only $5. You cannot beat that. You cannot beat that deal. So if you want to subscribe, you can scan this QR code right now and subscribe and enroll, and it'll be $5 per month, automatically recurring each month. Or you can just use the link in the description of this video below to subscribe that way. I have decided this year that I'm going to share the emails that I spend a whole lot of time curating accurate and current information with people who subscribe. I have sent emails for 17 years at no charge at all, but I've evolved now to the point where I would like to receive a little bit of compensation for the time that I put into providing emails that I believe will help you grow in your nonprofit organization. For example, the information that I'm sharing through this video today. This is information that's teaching you how to reuse grant proposals to reduce the time it takes to write a grant proposal. So this is valuable information that I'm sharing as a part of an email. So just think about that. If this is helping you and you want more of this type of information, subscribe and invest $5 per month. I think you'll be happy that you did. So now let's get back to the steps or the components, excuse me. Component number 6 of 10 is the program description. Remember, we're still talking about the community garden. The program description is the heart of the grant proposal because it explains why grant funders should award grant money to solve the problem identified in the community. So we've already identified that there is a problem with the lack of healthy foods in this one community. So the program description would tell the grant funder, the person with the money, the organization with the money, how you plan to solve that problem in detail. I mean, you would spell out everything that you're going to do to create this huge community garden. So, what does that mean? Just think about it. What does it mean to create a community garden? What do you need? How will you implement it? How will you do the work? That's what you want to disclose in the program description because it is the heart. It is okay. This is what we're going to do. We're going to create a community garden and we're going to describe the who, what, where, when, why, and how in this program description. Answer all of those questions. The who is going to benefit, the what are they going to benefit with, or what you're going to provide for them to benefit, the where is the community garden going to be, the how the community garden is going to be set up, and when it's going to be set up. All of that needs to be listed in a program description in very clear, easy to understand detail. The program budget. You cannot write a program budget before writing a program description because the program budget tells the grant funder how much money you're going to need to do the work. So, number 7 of 10 of the standard components of a grant proposal is the program budget. The program budget determines how much money you need to implement all of the activities listed in the program description. Everything you list in the program description has a cost. If you need a master gardener to be out there to teach people how to create gardens or to manage a garden, that needs to have a price, a cost to it. How much does it cost to hire a master gardener? If you're going to build beds, gardening beds to plant your garden, and you want to use pressure treated wood, um, 6 by 10 or 6 by 12, how many do you need? How much is each piece of wood? All of that has to be outlined in the program budget. And you will also need to have a column that shows the source of this data. We can't just estimate how much something is going to cost. You have to have a source for the data. So if you're going to get your pressure treated wood from Lowe's, then you need to indicate the source is Lowe's. And nowadays, since grant proposals can be submitted online, a best practice would be to go online to Lowe's, find the pressure treated wood in the size that you need, and link it. Just link it so that the grant funder can click on the link and see exactly what you're talking about and the cost of it. That's just something that we can do nowadays that since we are able to submit grant proposals online 95% of the time, I believe in linking to the budget items so the grant funder can know that you are telling the truth about how much everything costs. So once you have created your program budget, you're going to total everything up, all of the expenses up that you need. So you will know exactly how much money you need to create your community garden. And if it's $125,000, that's what it is. You don't ever want to feel bad about telling the truth about how much something is going to cost. So when someone asks you, how much money do you need for your community garden? You should have an answer immediately. $125,000. And I'm happy to show you the budget so that you can see how I came to that conclusion. Number 8 of 10 is the implementation plan. The implementation plan is a very simple table that lists how the program will be implemented. How are you going to implement the community garden? The best way to create an implementation plan is to write a list of tasks first. Just write down everything first. Write down everything first that comes to mind. Oh, I need to get some seed. I need to get some soil. I need some plants. I need to pressure treated wood. I need fertilizer. Just write down. I need tools. I need people. Write down everything you need to take place to make this happen. Then you go back and you put numbers beside each task to put them in numerical order in logical sequence. Organize everything in logical sequence because that helps the funder follow your flow of what you plan to do. Number 9 of 10 is the evaluation plan. Grant funders expect funding recipients, you, people who receive grant money, to use an evaluation plan to track their progress. How are you going to track your progress? How are you going to evaluate how well you are doing with meeting the goals? How are you going to do that? Well, you can say, I'm going to evaluate the success of this program or this community garden on a monthly basis. We're going to say, okay, how are we coming along with building the beds? Beds, I mean the places where you plant your seeds or plant your little samplings of plants, whatever it is. How are you coming along month 1, month 2, month 3? Tell the funder how you're doing. And most funders will tell you when they want to receive an evaluation report. Most funders will tell you that we want to receive an evaluation report on this date or whatever. Okay? Or this is what we want to include. We want you to include in the evaluation report to track your progress. So most of the time, funders will give you an evaluation template to use in order to track your progress, to let them know how you are doing with using their money. What is the return on their investment? That's what they want to know. And number 10 of 10, the last component of a standard grant proposal is called a sustainability plan. The sustainability plan explains how you will continue offering program services at the same level in the long term, beyond the grant funding cycle. This is critical for grant approval. For example, no grant funder wants to be your only source of revenues. No grant funder wants to be your only source of revenues. They want you to be able to explain how you're going to keep going with the community garden if they don't give you any money next year. What can you say if they ask you the question, what's going to happen if we don't give you our $50,000 in grants next year? Are you going to just fold up the community garden and give up? Your answer must be no, of course not. We have other ways of making sure we keep this going beyond your grant. We have fundraising strategies already in the works. We have other grant funders who have committed to giving us money going forward and grant money going forward. We are going to sell some of our vegetables to grocery stores. You want to be able to list ways in which you're going to keep the program going, for the long term. What about people who get tired of working in the garden? How are you going to keep that going? Human resources going. You want to be able to answer these types of questions because if a grant funder believes you're not going to be able to continue after they have invested, they're not going to invest in the first place because nobody wants to do a um, invest in an organization that's going to be leaving in 1 or 2 years. That's a waste of their money. They won't get a return on investment. So just bear that in mind. It's very important. So here's a quick recap of what we have talked about. All of the components: problem statement, program vision, program mission, qualitative objectives, quantitative goals, program description, program budget, implementation plan, evaluation plan, and sustainability plan. Now, how can this be reusable? How can these components be reusable? Well, During this presentation, you notice I focused on one particular community issue, and that's the lack of healthy food, right? Well, your issue may be the lack of affordable housing for veterans living with PTSD. The lack of affordable housing for veterans living with PTSD. So in that case, you would go back and you would just create your own information for each one of these components. The problem statement, the vision, just like I did. That's what makes this reusable. You can use these same components over and over and over again, just tweaking them to fit whatever your community issue is. That's all. Reusable. Let's say that you have several things, which you may not should have, but let's say that you do have several areas of work that you want to do, that you want to, problems that you want to solve. Same thing. Just create, you can create the same components and maybe save them as community garden components, veterans, displaced veterans components, transportation for seniors components. You see how they can be reusable? Just go back and just change the wording to fit what it is, because the bottom line is a standard grant proposal is a standard grant proposal. Every funder is going to want some variation of these components. So to make it less time consuming for you, just go ahead and have them ready. Go ahead and have them ready. Well, congratulations. You've completed the nonprofit tutorial, how to create reusable grant proposals so that you don't have to spend so much time starting from scratch. I'm Susan Woods again, and here's some information about me. I have been working in the nonprofit sector now since 2003. So I have not only operated a nonprofit organization myself in the past, I'm currently starting a new foundation as well. I have a lot of experience with operating a nonprofit and a lot of experience writing my own grant proposals to bring in the money we needed to survive over the years. So this information that I'm sharing with you is not only from my educational credentials, but it's also from my own personal experiences. So once again, if this information was beneficial to you, I highly encourage you to subscribe to my monthly email services where you will get an email on Monday mornings each month that correlates with a topic of the month or a category of the month. And the fee is only $5. You can scan to subscribe right now. The $5 will be deducted from your bank account each month on the same day in which you subscribe. So if you subscribe on the 10th, it will come out on the 10th every day going forward. And like I said, it includes 4 emails per month because every Monday, 4 Mondays. And on the first Monday of each month is my newsletter. And a newsletter is worth way more than $5 by itself, but it's included as a part of the 4 emails that you will get. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Subscribe to the email so we can stay in contact because, again, I'm sharing information like this video, with subscribers. I just wanted you to see the quality of the videos that I share with subscribers so that you would know what to expect when you subscribe going forward. Thank you very much and have a great day.